Bum, 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 bum. Critique-Opolis is back, and as promised, we're going to get into Summit of the Gods in a second here, but first we're going to address the most pressing issue of this podcast, and that is Louisa's cold, which she says she's conquering, but as soon as you hear her speak, you're going to doubt her as much as I do. How do you feel? Come on.
I feel better right now.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, listen to me talk.
Whatever, Kermit.
Oh my, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. But the remedy...
But it does sound very different.
The remedy I hooked you up is going to be part of the recipe for today.
That's why I feel better.
I'm going to take total credit for that.
You should.
I'm going to...
Made me 2 of them.
Oh, you're getting another one.
Yeah, I know.
You're getting another one because I don't want to get whatever you have.
I want to give it to you.
So you and I were struggling with what the chain of production was for Summit of the Gods, because it is anime, for sure.
Animated, yeah.
Well, anime, it's Japanese animation. And everyone involved with it is Japanese, but all the subtitles are French, and the title on Netflix is it's in French. I don't speak French, and it's not coming up on IMDb as in French. You're sneezing because
I can spell it for you because I asked my friend who's French about it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So it's L-E is the first word.
Ray.
S-O-M-M-E-T.
Summit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know what God is. D. Is it like deuce, like do-X?
Yeah, I think so, actually.
So if you're looking on Netflix, just look Summit of the Gods or anime, or you can probably search by director or actor. Director is Patrick Imbert, I-M-B-E-R-T. And this is an interesting story for an anime, I thought. This was my pick. A photojournalist's obsessive quest for the truth about the first expedition to Mount Everest leads him to search for an esteemed climber who went missing. I have some friends who really don't care for anime in relation. I think they're more partial to Western animation, but I don't get the issue with it, because most of the high quality animes I've seen, they're so much more realistic, and it looks like they spent way more. A lot of the Japanese studios spend way more time developing and producing a cartoon. And I know to call it a cartoon in Japan is like sacrilege, but they just look like the art is, I don't know any other way to say it, the art is just better.
It's way better. I wrote that in my notes. It was so clear.
Especially, this is a mountaineering movie, so there's a number of shots of just, it's almost like they had, you remember when they used to use background artists to draw landscapes and paint landscapes, and that's what you do instead of digital footage? There was a number of, when you shoot animation, you do it on cells, or at least you used to use, clear plastic cells, and you would draw on that. And these were so detailed, and anything that has to do with nature, spending that much time just on, they looked like photographs.
Yeah, they did. I wrote down in my notes that there were times when I forgot that I was watching something that was animated, especially, like you said, pointing out creating nature landscapes to look at in an animated movie. They were just so real and vivid and like true to life. Especially for mountain climbing and ice and snow. There were avalanches and Another word for a snow
Well,
thing.
like when they were running through canyons and valleys. So this kind of goes into like the comment I was going to make about mountaineering. I've never climbed. I've gone rock climbing before, but just being around that, you hear about what it's like to climb a mountain, or you talk to people if you do it enough who climb mountains, and you can tell that this production definitely had people on staff who were climbers, because there were, I guess, one of the elements of concern when you are climbing is, if you're crossing a valley, the snow-covered valley, you never know where the pitfalls are. Like the ground can just collapse underneath you and you can fall into a chasm. And I think, especially in an animation that utilizes so much white when they're up in the snow, if you've ever encountered anything that gave, like when I go skiing in Colorado, there'll be times when the sun comes out on a fresh snowfall, and you have to deal with
super blinding.
Oh, it's snow blinding.
Yeah.
Or the snow blinding. You can't not have something covering your eyes because you can't see contour to the ground at all. It just looks like white. You can't see, and skiing downwards, it's a real challenge if you don't have any kind of shade, because you can't see where the bumps are. You can't see where you'll curve or apply weight to one ski or one foot as opposed to another. And I've gone down hills like this before and wiped out, and it's taken me hours to get down it because I can't see.
Yeah.
And it's like you're overcome with, it's like the opposite of being blind. You're overcome with stimulus. And these animators did a great job of detailing that, especially towards the end. I've got the IMDb pulled up here, and there's two key characters. All of the actors and actresses are either French or I would think Japanese, and so these aren't necessarily people you would have heard of, but Habu was the character who was it was his goal to ascend this Mount Kilimanjaro type peak, and Fukumachi was the journalist, the photojournalist who was trying to document his ascent. But there's also a story around who was it? Was it Hillary? Edmund Hillary? They were trying to. It was another.
The climber's name, I don't know if it was first or last, but was Mallory.
Mallory. Okay, yeah, there was one of the first people to attempt to summit this particular peak in the movie. He is lost and can't be found, but he climbed with a particular type of flat collapsible camera, and there is an exchange in a bar early on in the movie where Fukumachi is propositioned with being sold a camera that's just like it. He follows this guy outside, and somebody roughs up the guy who's trying to sell it and takes it because he believes he has claim to it, and that turns out to be this other character, Habu, who is a great admirer of Mallory and wanted to tackle this this ascent that Mallory was lost on. So Fukumachi, goes back to his editor and pitches this as a next story, like trying to track this guy down. And during the tracking process, he finds out a bit of a backstory about Habu. He had what was kind of like a short-term apprentice who, met with a tragic end, and there's a bit of a side story to that. But you and I both saw, what was the one about the guy who climbed Free Solo?
Oh, yeah, Mm-hmm.
You remember just being on the edge of your seat for, especially the last part of that where he was attempting his final ascent with no gear whatsoever. Everybody in that theater they were curling up in their chairs. They were just so, and that's what was amazing about, I have never seen a cartoon or an animation that has given me that kind of reaction or that kind of response to particular harrowing scenes, and this one did.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to finish it because we watched it in 2 parts, I think, right?
Yeah.
And we watch it and then stop it and pick it up. And I couldn't wait to watch the second half.
And I just picked it on a whim. I thought that you would be like, but it was. The story was good, but especially the mountaineering, it really. They did I have to go back to this. They definitely had somebody in story development who. Do you guys sneeze? You can sneeze. The
I
listeners
know, but
won't
it's
be-
not coming yet, so I have to wait. You know how sneezing.
This is why I wanted you to bring your tissues down.
I don't remember that.
You want me to hit pause? Because the
No.
listeners care.
No, they can't see me.
All right.
Only you can see me.
Oh,
so
God.
we'll just and you're already gonna make fun of me anyway. So
With every breath. No, these. I know there had to be somebody on part of the script team that contributed to writing details into this story that were concerns and issues for climbers, from dealing with hypoxia when you get to a certain altitude and not climbing with oxygen, and what the effects of frostbite feel like when they come on, where you have to make sacrifices, ditch water, ditch food, laying your clamps properly. There was some real research put into this effort before the story was written. So especially if you like mountaineering or rock climbing, it's worth watching. It's in English on Netflix. I'm sure it was in both French and Japanese. I'm not sure what the French angle is, though, if it was I'm not sure what. Could you figure out where that came? There's a couple of French actors. Francois Denoyer played Ang Tsering, and then Marc Renaud, Hasse. There's a number of French actors.
that must be. Excuse me. That must be why. But I would also add to it, if you like suspenseful drama, intriguing people and their relationships.
Yeah, you gotta not have a problem with anime. Just give it a chance. Give it a movie that has a serious.
I wrote that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, thank you. I wrote that down in my notes too. That when we watched the little preview for it, I was like, I don't know, and then we watched kept watching it obviously for a few minutes. And I was like, yep, nope, I'd watch that, and the anime didn't bother me at all. I mean, not that it would. I'm just saying that.
Give it 2 minutes.
I thought,
you'll get past it. You'll get into the story.
Because I think it's sort of a strange. I don't know if that's the right adjective that I want to use, but a strange topic or subject to anime.
Yeah, it's not I think the first full-length animated movie I saw was Akira. And the bulk of them take place in a big metropolitan thing. Mm-hmm. And it's not as much. The stories from what I have seen, I'm not saying there's bazillions of animes out there, but I had not seen one that had a long character development and a long story development. The story unfolded over a place of several years.
Yeah.
Like a 3 or a 5 year period, because just when they're discussing these ascents, they talk about them in seasons and in years. And if you attempt one and you don't make it, you have to wait a year to do it again.
Yeah, that's true. That's a really good point. I know they devote their whole life to this. It's incredible. Very interesting. Very, very interesting.
So, director was Patrick Imbert. Writers were, I'm going to try here, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to butcher it. I'm just a man. Jiro Taniguchi, Baku Yumamakura, and Magali Puzol. And the big stars, the key roles Lazare Herson Macarel, and then Eric Herson Marcarel. So I'm assuming they're brothers. And then Damien Bousseau. Have you ever heard of those people?
I've never heard of any of them.
Me neither. But I'm sure in France or Japan they're a big deal. I wonder if we have any Japanese listeners or French listeners who are like, God, you guys suck at French.
Your pronunciation of anything that's not English is awful. And sometimes even your English.
And you know what? You're right. Admittedly.
Languages are not my strong suit. I'm not skilled in that.
I love it when people give Americans a hard time, especially Americans who grow up around other English speakers, and we're not, like, America's so big. Not every buddy lives near a big city that has, multiple languages. Like Chicago, you can learn Spanish there, no problem, if you want to make the effort. Miami, same thing. Mm-hmm. But in
Los Angeles.
Yeah, LA, but in Ann Arbor, Michigan?
Not so much.
No. So give it a break.
Although you could learn probably any language in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Well, yeah, but that's
the university.
That's the thing, though. Well, if you want to spend, $15,000 a quarter to go here, but what I'm saying is, if you're in those cities, the best way to learn is by immersion.
Oh, I see.
And we're not really immersed with anything other than English speakers here.
I don't know. Maybe not in the big cities. It's not
so prevalent.
Yeah.
There are other people here who speak different languages,
yes.
But they're in teeny tiny little pockets.
Yes, you're right. I know. Like you'll be walking, and you'll hear like a family speak. Thank you for the explanation.
You'll have to spend several hours with those little pockets.
Right.
It's not like it's around you in every single social interaction
that's a good point.
you have. Isn't this great? We're making excuses for the fact that we only know English. That's how it is. You got other things to do during the day.
I have lots of other things to do during the day, not language related.
All right, so we want to talk about my recipe to keep you from falling into the perils of flu.
Yes, please.
All right, so
thank you.
I've been seeing a lot of people come to market talking about this garlic honey infusion. I have a customer who tried it. See, talking's making you cough.
Yeah, like you said, should have brought the tissue. You should have brought the
beverage. Right again.
Always.
I'm just, you know what? I should have a notebook and just keep score. I have a customer who tried this garlic honey infusion, and I'm like, all right, I guess it's probably good for you. She came back a week later. She's like, oh my God, it smells wretched. I'm like, I didn't say it was like, I didn't recommend it to you. And B, that can't be surprising that it stinks.
Because of the ingredients.
Well, but whatever. So
I don't think it stinks and it didn't taste bad.
I put more than just what is than just garlic and honey. I made for you. I'm not reading this off of anything. I'm committing it. I committed it to memory. So it's big for, it's good to flush out cold, flu. When I saw it on Instagram, the lady who was talking about it said pleurisy. I don't know how much of an issue that is in 2024, but...
what is that?
It's some issue people had in 1910s. I don't think it's a big deal anymore, but cold, flu... pneumonia, upper respiratory things. It's good for all of those. So you just make a tea, like preferably a black tea, and the combinations are what's important. Cayenne pepper, however much you can stomach, a few dashes of that. I used our lemon and ginger honey, but you can just use straight honey. And you dice up very fine both garlic and ginger. Add it to the tea, and then a single drop of eucalyptus oil, because it's an essential oil. It's not really supposed to be ingested, but you use just one tiny drop in a hot tea, and supposedly that's the clincher. What else was in it?
Did you
I
say
added
lemon?
honey. I added honey and then
A wedge of
a
lemon.
wedge of lemon. Stir that all up. Drink it while it's hot. This one.
Did you say ginger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ginger and garlic. And I should put more cayenne pepper in there too.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah. Let that sit for a bit and then just pound those. If that's all you drink for a day, I had flu. I worked a market once, probably 6-7 years ago, where I was already coming down with flu, and I stood outside. This was probably February or March. It was a Saturday market. I was outside. It was freezing for 10 hours, and I really got sick. And I pushed it out in about a day and a half, but what I just read to you is the only thing I drank for 2 days.
How many do you think you had?
Probably 8,
Wow.
9. But that's because I was unconscious for almost a full 20 hours.
Yeah, so just drinking a liquid was a warm liquid.
I've heard it called the flu bomb, the garlic honey bomb. I've heard it called all kinds of things. It doesn't matter what the name is, but those are the things you put together. So if you feel like you're starting to come down with something odd, and I'm feeling a little tickle in my throat, so we're both going to have those.
Okay, well, I have 2 glasses. So.
Yeah, good. It does work. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the wellness community because I think a lot of what they push is hocus pocus, mumbo jumbo. But I've tried a few things, and I jacked up my. I've tried a few things, this being one of them, for a cold, and I have nothing negative to say about it. It does work, so give it a whirl. And now on to. Wait a minute, is this? I think we flip-flop something because usually I pick the movie. Oh, you know what it was? We skipped the Blacklist last time. That's why I'm doing this. And oh my God, you're dying.
I'm dying.
See, there it is.
So
it's
much.
Kermit's back.
It helped. Your recipe that you just talked about, yeah, it really. Do you see how much it helped?
That's just because you're not still drinking it. Did you bring it down?
I didn't because I finished the second one.
All right,
I just had to clear my throat.
As soon as we're done here, people, we're making her another one. But what I was going to say is usually if I pick the movie, that one over there who's on the verge of death, she picks the Blacklist. But because we skipped Blacklists last time, I'm doing
and
both
did the
of them.
dailies where we both did discussions. Had discussions.
Yeah. We're skipping that this time, and we're just doing the Blacklist, and I got to find it now. Okay, so this is the Blacklist for 2023, which I'm going to guess just came out because I hadn't seen any of the...
Oh, you looked at a Blacklist for 2023?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What did you
Because I was
look?
thinking about that the other day. Oh, I didn't look at anything yet recently.
I searched
but-
different years. Because even if it's like 8 years old, it doesn't mean it was actually acquired and developed and put into production.
I've searched years past too, but I just didn't. I was just thinking about searching 2023 and didn't get that far yet. So that's cool that you picked it or did that.
So the one I pulled out of the hat is called The Prophet, which was written by Andrew Ferguson.
And just in case anyone like me was confused, it's The Prophet, Profit, not the prophet like a holy person.
Yeah, well, they kind of roll together the meaning because he's evangelical, but
There
he was
you go.
also a
Okay.
traitor.
But like when I wrote it down and tried to search it or started looking it up, I was like, this is not right. So anyway, just to clarify.
I should send you the link from where I pull the.
Usually we do that. It's okay.
This is pulled from very recent news in the past couple of years. The synopsis is an astonishing true story of how an unknown evangelical Christian immigrant, Bill Hwang, suffered the greatest loss of wealth in American history, gambling away his $35 billion fortune and jeopardizing the entire financial system in under 24 hours. And I thought what I'd do is read a little bit of the Wikipedia, because from the synopsis reads a little bit differently from what Bill Hwang's story is. It reads more like the synopsis reads like he was I thought, before I got into it, I thought he was maybe like an evangelical preacher like that Joel Osteen guy.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's not. He was actually a securities trader. And I think he actually came from a semi-privileged background. Bill Hwang is a Korean-born American investor and trader. In April of 2021, Wall Street Journal reported that he lost $20 billion in over 10 days in late March, imposing large losses on his bankers, Nomura and Credit Suisse. In April 27, 2022, he was indicted on federal charges of fraud and racketeering. Now, I'm just going to give you I know as far as podcasts go, this might be a little dry, but I think it's kind of necessary to talk about the potential script that's being put together, because it's a little bit of Wolf of Wall Street and Big Short.
Yep.
Which makes it even sound more dry. But there's people out there that love movies about high finance, and I think this one could be this is a pretty good story. Started his career at Hyundai Securities in New York, and then worked for the now defunct Peregrine Investment Holdings. Met billionaire hedge fund manager Julian Robertson. He's going to be the second person in our script casting. Mm-hmm. Julian Robertson was a client, went to work for Robertson's Tiger Management. Robertson closed the fund in 2000, but during his time as its owner, he provided some of whom he considered to be his most promising employees, known as the Tiger Cubs, with funding to start their own hedge funds. So he gave Hwang seed capital of $25 million to launch Tiger Asia Management Fund, which grew to over $5 billion at its peak before suffering heavy losses during the 2007 and 2009 Great Recession. Now, I don't know how they're going to weave this together, but Hwang apparently is a super-duper evangelical Christian, and he has a number of charities that he's philanthropically involved with or throws money at. The insider trading component, Tiger Asia Management and Hwang admitted to illegally using inside information to trade Chinese bank stocks and agreed to criminal and civil settlements totaling more than $60 million. Tiger Asia Management, Hwang, Tiger Asia Partners, and former head trader Raymond Park also paid U.S. $44 million in penalties to the SEC. You sure you're gonna make it out of here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. 2014, he was banned from trading in Hong Kong for a period of 4 years. So Raymond Park is also going to be another person that we're going to cast. Archegos Capital in 2012, Hwang closed Tiger Asia Management and opened a family office, which is code for he found some loophole in SEC trading regulations that said if he opened a smaller hedge fund, which he named Archegos Capital Management, which managed, it looks like, I'm going to guess, well, see here it says that he managed $10 billion in funds, but was that down from, that's actually more than Tiger Asia Management, which was at 5. So I think I'll bet he took advantage of some trading loophole, but then he just kept growing his fund and got it outside of the parameters of what he opened it as. March 2021, losses at Archegos triggered the default and liquidation of positions approaching $30 billion. And I think that's going to be the crux of the movie, is where these losses were initiated from, or what series of events transpired for these losses to take place. But the losses hit a number of banks really, really hard. Nomura, Credit Suisse again, but also Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. Firm held large positions in Viacom, CBS, Baidu, VIP or VIP Shop, Farfetch, and a few others. Right before the collapse, Hwang was believed to be worth 10 to 15 billion, with investments leveraged at 5 to 1. And for those who aren't in investment, that means for every dollar that he traded, he went to the bank and leveraged against that dollar for $5. So if he went and asked for, if he put up $1 million of his own money, he would use that as collateral to leverage another $5 million. So he would borrow $5 million for every $1 million he put up. So when he would lose by a factor of 5. So whenever you see that old cliche of in either media or books or magazines or movies where stockbrokers throw themselves off a building, usually that's because they have leveraged their positions and the market has moved against them, and now they can't pay off their debt to the bank.
I see.
That's how people make a lot of money for investment groups, is they leverage their buys. And at the close of business, you have to settle up with the bank, and that means however much you loaned out, whatever your losses were, they've been compounded, and you have to pay the bank back. And if you can't, you're in deep shit.
Yeah, that would.
So Hwang and his former top lieutenant, Patrick Halligan, he's going to be the fourth player in our script, were arrested and charged with racketeering, conspiracy, securities fraud, and wire fraud as a part of a scheme to harm investors. Apparently, a 59-page indictment, Manhattan federal prosecutors allege that Hwang and Halligan schemed to manipulate stock prices, which is whenever you hear about insider trading, it's always one of a couple things that bankers are doing. They're either fixing the prices, or they're manipulating them, or they're doing what's called pump and dump, where they promote or they have their traders under them promote a particular equity or stock that's going to be worth like gazillions of dollars to their clientele, and the hype from that pushes up the price, even though the asset itself may not have the actual mechanics of the company justify a lower price. The hype around it pushes the price up. And it gets to a point eventually where cooler heads prevail and say, this thing isn't worth $90 a share, it's worth $32 a share. And at some point that is triggered and the stock deflates, and that's where people lose money. To give you that's the very broad strokes of Bill Hwang. So for our movie Profit, I'm going to be really curious to see who you picked out. But for Bill Hwang, I'm betting that you know more international actors than I do. But
this is probably true. Excuse me.
I picked a guy by the name of, and I'm sure he's super famous. I don't know a lot of Korean actors. Bae Young-jun.
I actually think I know that name.
Okay.
Is he in Parasite?
It's not on here. He might be. Rookie actor, gained fame with the debut drama Salute d'Amour in '94. Became even more popular when he starred in the romantic melodrama Winter Sonata in '02. Became extremely famous in Japan. I'm sorry, he's a Japanese actor. Gained the nickname Yan Sama from his fan base. Later entered the restaurant business and established restaurants and cafes that capitalize on the well-being trend. He is one of the most loved actors in Asia, and he looks incredibly handsome in his stylish glasses. And he wears glasses all the time, which is why I thought he'd be good for Bill Hwang. Bill Hwang is more of a heavy-set looking guy, just a little bit, but he wears glasses.
Can you spell his name for us, please?
BAE space YONG-JUN.
Okay.
You can punch him in.
That's pretty close.
BAE space.
JUN.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You see him?
Yep.
Do you recognize him?
No, I don't. But
You could look at his IMDb and see what else he's been in. But actually, give us a little bit of commentary while I look him up.
what do I have to say? Well, I mean, he is not necessarily to me, but I
White?
can see how he's very good looking. Like, to,
He's not white.
That's not what I said.
I know.
Some of these photos, he's got some great hair going on.
You know what's strange is a lot of his IMDb is without glasses. Oh no, I take that back. He would have I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I don't really know what I was saying. It's okay.
I would be curious. I don't know what the school of acting is like in Korea or Japan, but method is really respected in the West. If he would put on some weight, like he was in Dream High, Untold Scandal, April Snow, a few Japanese series that I could never pronounce, but I don't think he was in
In Parasite, and that was
Yeah, no, that wasn't
South
him.
Korea, or a Korean movie, I think. Anyway,
that was not him.
no, it wasn't. The name was very close.
But the alternate for that pick was John Cho. I thought he would have had some star power there.
Okay.
And you haven't really seen him do a big movie like this in a while. And I would, if you look at John Cho's face, if he puts on another 25 pounds,
He
put
could
some
do
glasses on, I mean, I don't think he looks terribly dissimilar from him.
I think acting-wise, too, he'd probably do the part justice.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I'm going on reading about Bae Young-jun's pedigree, but I haven't seen him act. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what his... you need somebody who can both, I would think, be fluent in English and Korean. And Bae is Japanese. At least if I'm going to take the stance that since he worked at a firm that had an Asian trading arm, it probably would lend itself pretty well to the script for him to speak Korean. I don't know, but I don't know, because he's Korean born, but I think he worked Nomura. I might be putting my foot in my mouth here. I think it's a Japanese bank.
I do not know the answer to that.
Well, look that up while I move on to number 2.
Okay, you don't want to hear my pick.
Oh, I'm sorry, I do.
That's okay. I'm just pulling
tell us your pick, and then I'll look it up.
Okay, thank you. My pick for the character of Bill Hwang is, you pronounce his name Tai Ma. And the best thing I can say, excuse me, is to look him up, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, I know that person.
Well, tell me what he was in.
He's an actor from Hong Kong, but his face, to me at least, is very recognizable. Immediately when I heard about Jay's pick for our Blacklist, this actor came to mind. He was in...
I'm going to jump over and look at who this guy is.
Have you seen this person before?
Yeah, I know that guy.
He was, I want to say, and I could be wrong, but a Chinese government official in the Rush Hour movies.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had to search those movies to figure out who it was.
I can't really tell from the Wikipedia
Oh, he was in Mulan. I knew it. Okay.
I can't tell from the Wikipedia article how old Bill Hwang is. I mean, some of his pictures coming out of court looks like he's got white hair, but I'll bet that guy could pull it off.
He was born in. Oh no, maybe that was another actor. Never mind. I'm gonna stop talking. I think that the person that I chose would be about the right age. I looked at pictures of the real Bill Hwang, and yeah. Depending on what color this actor's hair is at the moment, he might need some hair dye job. And clearly he'd have to wear glasses because I don't think he wears glasses, but...
I can't stand, I will be the first to admit how little I know about Asian culture, but I can't tell what the home country is of Nomura.
Oh, really?
No, not really.
Is that the name of the bank you said?
Yeah, Nomura Holdings is. It's Japanese.
I was just about to say it's got to be Japanese.
Yeah. So anyway.
Good job.
Who else do we have? Number 2 was.
Julian Robertson.
Yeah. Older white guy, and I don't know that he would even. These are just our picks, our little nowhere podcast that who knows how many people listen to. But when I saw a picture of his face, I thought Robert Duvall would be good for it.
Oh, that's funny. I thought that too in the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't write his name down, but I definitely thought about him.
He's an older guy.
Yep.
Little grizzled. I mean, everybody knows who Robert Duvall is.
And if you don't, I don't know where you've been.
Yeah, get your life. Look up Julian Robertson and look up Robert Duvall side by side. He could totally pull it off. He's, Duvall's older now, and I don't think he does as many projects. But if he could be convinced, I don't think he'd be a terrible pick. Who was yours?
So right away, I went with James Cromwell.
Oh, that's good too.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
right
totally.
When you hear his name,
Totally,
you do.
Totally.
Oh, very nice. Okay, I wasn't sure.
L.A. Confidential. He was the corrupt police captain.
I never saw that movie, so I don't know that information.
He was in Babe, the pig movie.
That's exactly where I know him from.
I know you know him from that. He's been in. He was in The Green Mile. He was the.
He was in The Green Mile. My gosh, that movie was terrifying. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Terrifying. That was a good movie.
That was a good movie, but I watched it when I was too young. So.
Yeah, he was the prison warden.
He's had a lot of good parts.
Oh yeah.
I didn't spend time looking at his IMDb, but the small seconds that I did, I was like, oh yeah, oh wow.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of big movies.
I also chose someone. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I also chose someone else just in case, maybe. But it is. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. John Lithgow. Do you know who that is?
Oh yeah. Come on. Of course I know who John Lithgow is.
Okay, just.
Been in freaking He was on what's that alien show? Third Rock from the Sun. He was in.
Oh yeah.
He was in that, which I know you haven't seen this because you were a kid when it came out. Ricochet with Denzel Washington.
No, I definitely don't know that.
John Lithgow, Denzel Washington, Ice-T was in it. Yeah, Lithgow's been in. He was the bad guy in Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone. He's been in a bazillion movies.
He has a whole series of children's books that he reads or sings on like a book on CD, and we listen to them a lot at school. And so immediately when I saw a picture of Julian Robertson, I was like, oh yeah, for sure him, because the kids we love those stories that he does. He's very talented. I was reading his IMDb. He could be an EGOT winner. Do you know what that is? Well,
I've heard this before, but doesn't it have to do with books?
So you have all the big awards. You have an Emmy, you have a Grammy, you have an Oscar and you have a Tony Award, and he just needs an Oscar.
Was an EGOT like the trip, like the?
It's like the quadruple, like, I don't know what you call it, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
I have not heard of this next guy. So one of the
character or the person?
Well, the actor Raymond Park is I believe the traitor, or the second lieutenant to Bill Hwang. No, it's the traitor. His name was Raymond Park. They'll probably change the name in the movie like they do for all the names, but you might want to look this guy up.
Okay.
Lee Jung-jae, and that's Jung-jae is Jung hyphen Jae.
Excuse me.
He was a former fashion model. Began acting in '94. Made his breakthrough in the '98 film An Affair. The film was a big hit, and it was the 7th highest grossing Korean film in '98. You find him?
Yes,
Okay.
I did find him.
In '99, since '99, he's been good friends with actor Jung Woo-sung, and together they own several businesses, apparently. But he's a good-looking guy. I think he could totally pull off a securities trader in Asia.
100%. Yep.
He's tall, good-looking. Like, he could crush it. Because a lot of those, if you're trading securities, they like to say that the archetype of that is good-looking, chiseled, nerves of steel, and he could pull that off.
And he has experience too.
Do tell.
No, I mean he's a businessman.
Oh yeah.
So. He's won lots of awards.
Yeah, I mean this would be like we tend to go with more known people.
We do. I do. I definitely do.
You definitely do. I like to find the guys who are a little bit underutilized, and it's not that these guys have. It's just that Japanese and Korean or Chinese actors. It's not that they're less successful. They just operate in a predominantly different market. The last one, when we looked up Patrick Halligan, he's the last player. He's a white guy, or at least the pictures I found, white guy with black hair, but he had the COVID mask on. And you know who I thought would be good for this one? I just searched people in his age group.
Okay, what age may I ask? Was that?
I'm guessing it's over 40.
Okay.
Because if he's trading and he's working with these guys are like 40 and 50 years old.
Did you see a picture of him? Who actually
half
is?
His face?
Yeah, okay.
Half his face.
Oh, sorry, you just said that.
Yeah. I went with John Stamos.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
I like Stamos because everyone knows who he is, and it wasn't. What was that show he was on?
Full House.
He's had
what
like
was
other.
That show he was on?
I didn't watch a ton of it. Like I was gonna say the other one. There was like 3 shows that were all pretty similar.
That's true.
But him being I don't think he's had like a real big movie to have
like a major role.
A major role, and you know who he reminds me of in that particular setting is the guy who's on the cover of Patrick Dempsey of Your Latest People. Remember how I was commenting to you last week that like when we watched Entourage, there was a scene where Ari Gold, and Entourage is like 15 years old now.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Or 15 or almost 20 years old.
Yep.
There was a scene where Ari Gold, the agent, falls out of favor with the A-list star Vince. Mm-hmm. And he's trying to get back in his good graces and get invited to his house for Christmas or something, or for his birthday. And Lloyd, the assistant, says, I haven't heard anything from Vince, but we did get an offer to play charades over at Patrick Dempsey's house, and he's like, "Fuck!" And like at the time, Patrick Dempsey was a joke, and at the time, Patrick Dempsey already had like a long-standing career.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
I didn't realize what a career he's had.
Oh my God! I remember seeing him in "Can't Find Me Love" when I was in high school.
Right.
20 years beyond that, he's being made fun of on Entourage. 20 years after that, he's on the cover of People magazine for Sexiest Man Alive. So, like, guys like John Stamos, who's definitely had a career, but they haven't had that one role that allowed them to showcase what they got, and especially something dramatic and high tension. And I'm sure everybody who writes a dramatic movie likes to pitch it as it being a potential Oscar winner, but I think in a 4-part cast, something like this, where Patrick Halligan was he was the insider, and a couple of his guys flipped on Bill Hwang. They testified against him. I'm not sure if Patrick did, but I'm sure they could write it that he does flip on him. Billions of dollars are lost. They could have been best pals, and there's a whole dynamic or character development that can be created around how close they were, and then he's just got to nuke the whole thing so he doesn't go to jail.
Excuse me, yeah.
The other pick I had was a Matt Bomer, who's been in projects called In Time, The Normal Heart, and both Magic Mike movies he was in.
Everybody knows who Matt Bomer is.
I don't know who he is. I'm sure every girl knows who he is. I don't know who he is.
My mom might not know who he is.
Well, is it because he's pretty?
Yeah.
See, and you're younger than me. I would say everybody knows who George Clooney is or Brad Pitt is.
Oh yeah, way more than that's true.
But
I think a lot of people know who Matt Bomer is.
Okay, but he's my number 2.
Okay.
Stamos is my number 1.
Okay.
Your turn.
Okay, so glossed over me for Raymond Park. So
going
back to Raymond Park.
I get excited when I do this.
No, that's okay. I understand. It's totally fine. But I have my notes, so keeps me on track. I'm like, I didn't say that yet. No problem. Anytime. You never do this. But do you want to look up my person?
Yeah.
Please. It's not someone that I knew.
This is for who?
This is for Raymond Park.
Wait a minute. The other trader?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Backing up to this. So this is our third person.
Yep.
His name is Choi Min Soo.
Choi.
CHOI.
Yep.
MIN. SOO.
Hyphen.
Oh, sorry. There's a space between the 3 words. CHOI names. Space MIN space SOO.
Was he in Phantom the Submarine?
I don't know.
Choi Min So. Let me see.
That's his name right there. Did I say it wrong? Spell it wrong?
Is it MIN?
MIN.
SOO. I don't have that. I have. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I have Min So Choi.
No, a South Korean actor. He didn't come up.
Let me look.
He is known as one of the most acclaimed actors in South Korea. He is 61 years old.
Is he a tough guy? Let me see who you have. Hold on, I'm going to do this again, people. I'm going to jump over to her side.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar enough to be like, this is who he is.
Go up to the top. Go to his IMDb. Oh, yeah, that's him. It's spelled different on mine.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
him. Yep. Yeah, he wouldn't be bad. Let me see. Man Who Dies to Live, Happy Ending, The Legend, Father's House, Road Number 1.
He seems very popular, very well known in Korean cinema, which I've seen a handful of.
Oh, he was in The Terrorist. Oh, I've seen this. I think this was... Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I haven't. I've seen him before for sure. No, that'd be a solid pick. He's an older guy. He's probably he could definitely play parallel to whoever picks up. If you pick an older actor for Bill Hwang.
Oh yeah, that they would like pair nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like if you get an older guy for Bill Hwang, you wouldn't want to cast like a younger, I don't know, a John Cho would be good because this guy would be older than John Cho.
Right. Yeah.
You'd have to use you'd have to do a lot of makeup on Cho to make it look believable.
Yeah, I feel like someone on the team of this movie would research the ages of these people, and then hair and makeup would.
I think you and I would be in agreement in that casting for age is important.
Oh, I think it's very, very important. Yeah. Because
and there are some times when, I don't know, whenever you pick an actor who's not, if you're telling the story about a real person at the time when they were alive, and you pick somebody who is 15 years beyond what they look like now,
yeah,
but you're trying to get what they looked like playing then,
it doesn't work. And you just know, watching something, you just think, this isn't right.
That guy was supposed to be 28, and he's being played by a guy who's almost 50.
Yeah. And sometimes, and I don't have a specific example, but sometimes I feel like an actor or an actress is just chosen because of who they are, and it has nothing to do with, especially if you're making a movie about a real person, a true story, it's just not believable.
Yeah, that's kind of why we decided to do a casting thing, because we watch a lot of movies and media, and every now and again we'll come across a project where we're like, why the hell did they pick that guy?
Yep.
And I don't know if our show isn't listened to widely enough for me to get blown up about picking outside of ethnicity, and I understand the value of including different people, but every group of people has a story, and I don't think you're necessarily doing a story justice when you're transposing, if you're trying to tell an accurate historical story, if you're transposing people of different backgrounds or different races with key players.
Yeah,
because
exactly. Well said.
There are just as many dramas and interesting stories that are happening in Korean cities or Japanese cities, that if those markets are watching a project that we make, they want to see wow, your eyes are really going. We'll get you tea here in a second. You gonna make it?
Yeah, I'm
You're
gonna
upset.
be fine.
You're upset that you didn't bring down those tissues, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm fine.
Okay, whatever.
I'll go back up and get all my remedies, though. Yeah.
So anyway, if we went to Korea or Japan and made a project about some well-known semi-historical figure or somebody from the news media that happened within 10 years, you wouldn't want the producers to be casting a white or a black or a Hispanic person in those roles, unless you completely altered the story and you altered the setting and the landscape.
Yeah, everything would have to be different.
Yeah, you'd have to set it somewhere else.
Yeah.
If you set it in the locale of where the story happened, the personnel have to make sense with the setting.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't even recognize the story anymore. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is it's just.
Otherwise, you just take the elements and then you've taken out all the juice of the story and mixed it into a whole nother cocktail.
Yeah.
And then that's more of.
That's a different movie.
Yeah, it's a different movie.
That's a different genre.
I call it copyright infringement, but you have to have. That's why you have to have your stories copywritten, folks. But it's another argument for another time. You need some more tea, clearly.
I do, but I have one more pick.
I'm sorry. I did it again.
That's okay. We haven't done this in a little while.
2 days.
No.
Oh, you mean the Blacklist.
The Blacklist. Yeah, that's what I mean. Patrick Halligan, which, by the way, in my research of who Patrick Halligan what Patrick Halligan looks like, I thought that I got distracted when I was researching who Patrick Halligan was. There's also a baseball player named Patrick Halligan, and I was like, nope, that's not who we're looking for right now. But I chose two people who I think, depending on what age you were casting the movie for, you'd have to pick either person. But I chose John Mulaney.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right.
You can see that?
Yeah.
And because I like to see actors who are known for doing one thing do another thing, so if that makes sense. So like John Mulaney, he's a comedian, he's very funny and he's entertaining.
He just got busted for all that drug stuff.
It would be great to see him in this kind of a role.
That's totally how you rebound that career.
It would be a good move for him.
Oh yeah. Oh, good job.
Oh, thank you.
That's
thank you.
You know what? Just for somebody who's gone through the ringer recently, for coming out of rehab.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about all those details. Yeah,
that would be great. Just a career move to put him in something like serious, where he's got to exercise some dramatic range. I don't know if someone like him would be into that. A lot of stand-ups just want to be stand-ups, but that'd be way to go.
Thank you.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Who else?
I also picked John Slattery. You know, we've talked about him before.
From Mad Men.
Mad Men, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he would definitely have to be, whoever you pick for Hwang, they'd have to be the same age because he's in his 60s.
Yeah. But he is, I thought that...
he was Roger Sterling in Mad Men.
And he played quite a bit in Desperate Housewives. He was one of the ladies... what do you call it?
Flings?
Yeah, sure. But he's like tall and skinny and good looking and like, I don't know.
White hair, glasses.
He just like, I just see
What's his
him
name
like
again?
John Slattery. I think, and I can't recall exactly right now, but I feel like he'd be like he has played a politician or worked in a political office before. I don't know, I could just see him in this role.
Mad Men was outstanding because he has such great comedic timing.
Yeah, which I didn't know.
Oh my God, it's off the charts good. Just when he's given like funny lines, if you want to see an actor just execute excellent comedy without doing stand-up, just Google or YouTube Roger Sterling lines from Mad Men. He's hysterical because he's in executive management position at their advertising agency, and he chops the legs out from people. Like when he fires people, he just does it in the most hysterical ways possible. And he's not self-aware at all, at least in this character. He's good at not being self-aware and a bit of an ego, good time Charlie kind of guy. He's just hysterical, and he does a lot with John Hamm. I think they both work really well together. Actually, that'd be a good person to.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, if you could throw John Hamm into the other role, that'd be. Well, no, because the other guy's older. Anyway.
But if you had good hair and makeup people.
Yeah, he looks like a senator.
John Slattery.
Yeah.
Slattery.
There's a picture of him on IMDb behind or in front of a American flag.
Oh, yeah?
And, it's on the cover of, it's a still for Desperate Housewives. So
I think he was a politician on that show.
I think, I think we're covered for everything today. We got to get some cold remedy into Louisa here, but we haven't picked out our next one, but just keep listening. You'll hear it soon enough. Behave. We'll talk to you soon.
Probably in the new year, so Happy New Year.
Oh, yeah. Happy New Year. Toodaloos.